Howdy all, hope you're well. It's been a bit of a rush. Hopefully you can hear me, hopefully you can see me, hopefully everything's working. It has been a bit of a rush. Now Andy, today, on the basis of, I've literally just, well, to be fair, I don't mind. I took my little one to karate. She's only 5 and I haven't long been back. So it's been a bit of a rush then trying to get here to then do this, and yeah. So if you can't hear me, apologies. We do have chat. However, that's chat from just before I jumped online. So if someone could write anything in the chat to say that you can hear me okay, and you can see me and hear me okay, that would be brilliant. So while I wait for, thanks Andy, appreciate it. I never listen to what you say because I know you're going to be just a comedian. Have you tried the Elite drivers yet? Curious if you like them. I mean, I've tried them literally just to play with them, just a little bit, not to actually do a proper full like review of them, etc. I know. I'm sure you're insulting me, but luckily you can't hear. So the issue with I'll be honest, the Callaway drivers, with all the bits and pieces that were going on when it comes to January, February, and even into March, start of December, with all the crazy, silly season happening, and the type of reviews that I do, very data intensive from a point of view of like the data construction, with all the data sets that I need to hit, all the 3 different swing speeds and miss hits and all that, especially going into 2026 when I'm still waiting on a piece from China to get the robot working, that I very much so had to prioritize getting what I was needing to get done in the time that I had. And unfortunately, when it comes to Callaway, and I don't understand whether it's just the demographic of the channel, but the Callaway drivers don't really get that much in the way of attention. And so trying to get as much information out there to the right people who want it, etc., then honestly, I just had to prioritize getting what I had done to the level that I needed to do it. And that did mean there were certain golf clubs that that and the fact that with my poorly knee at the time, it did absolutely mean that I had to sacrifice certain things, and that's what it was. Unfortunately, that's how it come. I mean, Callaway, I've got some great views from Callaway product. It's just that for some reason the drivers don't really get that much, and considering the amount of toll that it takes on my body to do the driver data, especially at that time of the year. I mean, when I hurt my knee in December, just prior to silly season, that was, I mean, I was very, very frustrated at the timing of it. And I managed to get through 2025 silly season without overly damaging it too much. And this is why the whole conversation Andy and I had originally over the robot concept, and then that starting. Unfortunately, it's been best part of probably 6 months, really, that the robot has been going on for, because of certain situations of obviously trying to design something to make it work, and getting all the motor here and all the different motors, get all the T mechanism, because it's a lot easier just to set up the robot to swing a golf club. And rather than having to move the motor and move the whole robot for different locations, it's a lot easier to keep everything, once you've got it there, it's fine, but then just move the head, move the T box. So the head stays the same and the T moves around, and obviously it changes the strike location. So that obviously takes, because now I've got 3 extra motors. But the big problem with that one was the fact that China sent the wrong motor. I wanted a 60 Newton meter stepper motor, a big old thing, and they sent a 28. It was in the casing of the 60, so it looked like the 60, but the internals were actually from a 28. So obviously it got to a point where I think Andy and I managed to max it out at 60 something miles an hour before it started skipping and yeah, just having a complete wig out. We did get some data for it at 50 miles an hour before you get to a certain point where you push the motor so much that it starts to skip and then all the data just goes messy. So we did get some data, some solid data at 50 miles an hour with the very, very underpowered motor. But now we've gone a different direction. We've got a motor that hopefully should absolutely be fine, but we haven't had it running at full speed at all yet. I'm still waiting on a piece from China so I can actually get the main part which holds on to the motor shaft to spin the golf club. I'm waiting on the part for that. Once that's here, excuse me, I'm still suffering. I've still got the effects of what I had a week or two ago. It's being a bit of a Klingon, but there we go. And then once that's here, I can then get it going. Because I have, oh, do you know what? I really shouldn't do this because I might get in trouble. But do you know what? I don't care. I don't care because, let's face it, I don't care. It's not going to make a big difference when it comes to if they decide to not work with me anymore. But I do feel that it's interesting to get. So we've got these ones to do. That's the Tour Exotics, the new one, the Max, and they've also got that one, the LS. There you go. So that's partially already starting to. Yeah, there you go. So they're coming. I think 7th of October is the embargo date. Now, I really wanted to get them on the robot. I'm not quite sure I'm going to be able to get them on the robot. One thing I would say to Tour Edge when it comes to the review, I don't think I'll even mention it because of the time frame, and it's just a silly thing. But if anyone can remember the old G400 head covers, if anyone can remember the old G400 head covers, leather but very thin, and it didn't take long at all for anyone who used to play in the rain or anything else like that, for these head covers to absolutely obliterate in no time whatsoever. Look really good, look really clean, feel really quite nice, but I've got some severe concerns over how this will stand up durability wise, especially if someone actually plays in inclement weather. But there you go. But I was really hoping to get them on the robot, but I'm not sure as yet. We'll see if we can do that one. I doubt, because I'm still waiting for a part. I messaged them today, look, what's going on? It's been 10 days since the last update on tracking for this piece that I need, but there we go. We will see. Guys on Discord as well. I mean, I put out on Discord that my intention was to try and get live today, but obviously I didn't know if I was going to be able to get live or not on the basis of everything was happening quite busy for me, family-wise, in the evening. So I did ask for people within Discord to just pop questions on. So if you are on Discord, pop your questions on Discord. I will keep an eye on them. I can also pop Discord chat up on here as well, from the 3 different places, but I'll do that if I can. But we'll go through the chat anyway. So Colchak 357, hopefully that has kind of answered. Have I used them, the Elite drivers? Yes, I have. Have I tested them anywhere near enough to do a review? Nowhere close. I did hit them though, and they're fine. Do I see them any different to the previous driver? Not in any way, shape or form. I still feel the Rogue ST was possibly, on balance for Callaway of recent times, the best driver they've ever made. And they should go back to it, I think. The Rogue STs were brilliant. They were really good. They sounded phenomenal. Like, Callaway know how to make a driver that sounds really very, very good. And it performed really very, very, very well from a middle perspective. Obviously, how it works from an off-center hits and distance factor, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. But, I mean, when I tested it, and I'm not perfect with my strike, especially with driver. I do move around a little bit and it works really well. Can be a bit left. I mean, for me, Callaway drivers have always wanted to go left. They've always had a bias for me to want to go left. But that's good as well, because at least I know where they're going to go. So JB says, would you upgrade an X2 hot hybrid for a hybrid or go for a 7-wood, assuming both go similar distance? Which is more functional for your speed, effectively? If you are lower swing speed, needing the functionality from a 7-wood, absolutely 7-wood. If you've got a little bit more speed to you, and depending if you need the functionality of flight or not, whether the 7-wood over a hybrid will be more versatile out of different conditions like rough, etc. Again, need to really test that one. But I would go with whatever one for your speed you need the functionality of flight. And if it's a slower one, 7-wood will win all the time. If it's any other speed, go with what works for you the most. Try out a different lies if you can, or at least just try anything when it comes to a 7-wood. It does have unique advantages, a 7-wood over a hybrid, like a hybrid has unique advantages over an iron. So yeah, I would definitely test. Eero says, I didn't like the driver but loved the 3HL. Is that normal? Anything's normal in golf. There is no such thing as abnormal because we've got such a range of difference in golf. So for you, that will work wonders. Other people will think you're a nutter. So Tyson says, have you been able to try the X-Forged irons? Yes, I have. I've hit them a few times. Again, not enough when it comes to, and I really want to do those ones. If anything, I want to do the X-Forged if I can. Also the 150s if I can as well. It's just getting them now. I mean, it's a difficult thing because at the time I've got more access to them when they're first in and around, but necessarily at the moment, not so much. We prefer Miuras to Callaways, Jay. Eric, you do. And I don't think you're wrong necessarily. I'd love to get hold of Miuras and do a full-on series of Miura irons. How many people would actually watch it is a different thing, but, and of course, I'm not a great fan of labeling a video something really catchy that's got nothing to do with the video just to try and get people clickbaity to watch it. Mark says, when will you see the new Mizuno M irons to review? Excuse me. Hopefully when I'm pressing the M button, it is miking the mute, and it's muting the mic. When will I see them? Early December. For my last conversations with Mizuno about samples, everything was on track. Unfortunately, and this is again an unfortunate thing, you have a situation at Mizuno at the moment where last year they made the decision to effectively custom, when it comes to like the Pro S1, S3, they made the decision to effectively custom them for the reviewers. Whoever's going to be reviewer, it was a case of, right, what is your shaft that you want, and then what is your desired lie angle? And there you go. That's brilliant. Why is it brilliant? Is because it stops any reviewer from giving a bad review based on no data whatsoever, and there are reviewers out there that do not really involve any data whatsoever and just give their opinion. And so from that point of view, when you're going to give them something which does not suit their spec, whether it be lie angle or in a lot of the cases a shaft, you could get an individual that just does not get on with the iron at all and thinks it's rubbish based on the fact that they can't hit it very well. And that's nothing to do with the iron, it's just a specification of which they're very sensitive to, they were not given. And why would any company do that? Why would any company think it's a great idea to hand out products, which is a brilliant advertising thing from a company's point of view? I really don't understand why the marketing companies of every brand doesn't give out more product for free to anyone with any form of audience, because from a company perspective, it's ridiculously cheap advertising. And even if someone gives a golf club a near kind of review, that is still better than not getting anything out there. The problem with Mizuno, what they've done over the last couple of releases, if not three, so JPX 925, Forged, Pro S1, Pro S3, they've got products that work, especially in the 925 Forged, just amazingly well, like really very, very well. But their marketing of it, and I don't mind saying this because it's true, their marketing of it, when you compare it to the likes of the big boys, and I say big boys on the basis, unfortunately, Mizuno, because of the design of how they've designed their marketing concept, ethos, I don't think they'll ever be a part of the big boys. because they just don't think in the same way. Now that can either be good or bad depending on how you look at it, but they should have made much more of a song and dance over the 925 series as a whole, and for some reason it just not fell flat. They're doing fine on the sales and stuff. It's just a bit disappointing. So December. But guys, anyone with an internet access can go online and search for the M13 and M15 and just get a flurry of information about the M13, M15. So this is where the split release, they've released it in Asia already. I've been asked not to say anything about them at all. Yes, okay, fair enough. But at the end of the day, people asking me questions about it, I won't lie, and I'm not going to turn around and say, oh, I can't say anything, when the information is out there for the public to view anyway. I'm not telling you where to go, I'm just saying anyone with a Google search can find the information, find the lofts, find the technology, find all different things about the M13, M15. There you go. So hopefully December. Right, so Anthony, hope you're well. 2025 P790 or ZXi4 for high swing speed. Ooh, that'll be an Andy one, that will, because Andy's a bit more of a, I'm trying to do it on the fly, where Andy will be able to look at website bits and pieces as well. Your swing speed determines the ideal launch angle determines ideal loft, delivered loft. Depending on your swing dynamic, shaft lean, your delivered loft determines your static loft. There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself if I tried. Mark says, evening, what would you advise for a, oh, this could be what Andy was answering. Even what would you advise for a mid-high handicap golfer between Strixon ZX4 Mark II, I'm guessing, and the Cleveland Zipcore XL? Thanks in advance. And that's what Andy was saying. But within reason, Anthony, what you were saying on there works exactly the same. What I would do is I would stick all the information for both of you guys, Mark and also Anthony. If you know how you deliver the golf club, Anthony, you've already said your swing speed. So if you know angle of attack and then delivered loft, how much you de-loft, or, I mean, we can already work, if you don't know it, we can work with you to try and get a very, very good close estimate of it. And stick that in the website, www.askgolfnut.com, because on the gold tier there, you've got the self-fit tool. And the self-fit tool, basically, if you put the ZXi4 against the P790 2025 version, or even the Zipcore XL irons against the original ZX4 Mark IIs, so original Mark IIs, then you'll be able to see exactly which one wins, exactly which one goes higher, stops quicker, goes further, what your gappings are predicted to be between all the irons, etc. So that's the self-fit tool is an amazing tool. On www.askgolfnut.com, especially if you are considering purchasing any irons and spending your hard-earned money. It is well worth popping onto askgolfnut.com, finding out if they actually work before you spend money. That's the whole idea of askgolfnut.com, was to try and allow people to make the best buying decisions they possibly can do and not waste their money. Commonly where it's difficult for people to be able to get properly custom fit, trying to look at reviews, trying to look at every single reference they can online about a certain iron to give them confidence that something may or may not work. You're not going to find a better tool than askgolfnut.com for analytical, direct, measured, no marketing bump, just if it works or not for you individually. I survived, I'm back. Right, so Charlie. How would you suggest I progress my 6-year-old further? Already on junior tour, pings, etc. Driver is a rocket long game, solid short game, decent putting, decent plays off 37 already, golf swing of 4 handicap. So when they're so young, yes, obviously making sure the great thing with Ping is they do refittings and stuff, and Ping are a really good brand for being able to get the kids going. Really, very, very good. What I've always said when it comes to kids is just keep them enjoying it. Nothing will want to progress them further than them progressing themselves if they like it. If at any point they stop enjoying it, stop liking it, and then want to kind of retract away from it and kind of distance themselves from playing it, that will have the biggest effect negatively than anything else. You can deal with golf clubs that don't quite fit perfectly and blah, blah, blah. The most important thing from a junior's point of view is keeping them enjoying it. And until they can reach a point mentally where they can understand what's going on and understand the process involved, where golf is very, very mental and it can beat you up badly. And so when you're an adult, most adults are able to deal with the ebbs and flows, troughs, peaks of golf, and they choose to enjoy it. I am the perfect example. When I was a young junior, I gave up because I couldn't deal with it in my head. It was just, I loved hitting them out the middle, but I didn't like not hitting them out the middle. It was a great feeling being in a driving range and smacking a golf ball right out the middle. It's lovely. Everyone knows it. That's why we continue to do it. But when I was younger, and obviously I was just, well, I was a kid. I was no good at all. I just didn't like not hitting it well. And so I then I took some time off as a young junior, and then I came back afterwards when my brain was a little bit more able to deal with the ups and downs of golf. But keep them enjoying it. The worst thing you can do is push them in a direction that they don't necessarily want to go all the time, and they'll start retracting, start distancing themselves from golf, and nothing will make them worse quicker than them doing that. Eero says, nutter must be a UK term. I'm thinking that applies to people who like chrome. No, nutter is, well, anyone who doesn't like chrome is an absolute nutter. Tyson says, how did you like the X-Forge when you did try them? Wondering how the feel is compared to a ZX5. Feels really good. Callaway know how to make a very nice feeling player's iron. Is there a difference between them and the ZXi7? ZXi7 is a very, very nice feeling iron, and so it is very, very close between them. Would I make a decision between those two golf clubs on feel alone? Absolutely not. They're too close to call a winner out of the two, depending on what you feel is the winner. When you're looking at one golf club will do this slightly differently to this one, and again, you get 10 different people get 10 different responses to what they prefer the feeling of. So would I prefer one of the two based on I like blade feelings? Too difficult to test. It wouldn't make any difference. Any tiny difference between them two would not. If I would have to look at other metrics. If every single thing was the same and the only difference was a micro difference in feel, it's not even big enough to even make a decision between them. So, have you tested any Wish-On golf clubs? No, I have not. So if anyone knows of any manufacturer that I have not tested to date, and you know or do know of a way to get in contact with their marketing department, or know the contact for the marketing department, and then want to send it over to my email, you can email me at askgolfnut@gmail.com or j@askgolfnut.com, whichever one, and I will then get in contact with them and then see if we can get their clubs on the channel. Try reading the AGM post on Reddit, and he's popped the Reddit post on there. And that's for how to, is that one that's saying how to choose golf clubs or something? I think it was, wasn't it? How to choose an iron. A YouTube drinkeroo. Right, YouTube drink. So, very quickly, let's go on to, I'll go on to the chat if I can. Now, which one is this? Let me get, this is T-Box. Have we got anything on there? Eero says, what is everyone's best looking blade in recent memory? I answered MP5. That is my personal. I'm guessing that one's made of chrome, yes. And Dots has said 2021 P7MBs stick out for me. My preference is playing Mizuno, so there we go. Let's go over to the members. Have we got anything on there? Just want to make sure that there is no other things on there about stuff which is members only. I don't want to necessarily say. Jay, if we need a topic, best books, or for me, putters that can help with your mental game. Wow. The problem with the mental game is that not all books will encompass everybody. And so you could spend all the time reading a book and it not help in any way, shape or form, because we all are ticked and we all tick in a different way. So no is the answer to that one. I've always had a lot more. There was an old pro where I used to work, and he was an old pro. Now, objectively, technically, modern day terms, was he a good professional? In a modern day term, no. Didn't use technology at all. Didn't use any form of video, and even video is back in the day. He was old school. But what he did have the capabilities or the capacity to do, every single person that came out of his lessons, all of them came out happier, more confident and more aspirational about their game, more motivated to go out there straight away and go hit some more and stuff like that. He was incredibly good at tapping into the brain, the personality of the golfer in question, and making them feel really very, very good, confident and happy about where their golf game is going, even if they weren't actually getting much better. So I've found a lot of times that actually it's your pro that you work with, your coach that you work with, and what they are like. And some people spend time with other people on the basis of not for their swing help, but for how they are as a person and how they like to coach. And getting the right coach is not just as important for your swing. Swing is obviously incredibly important because that's your bread and butter. But if you can't deal with the classic ebbs and flows, peaks and troughs that golf give you, you can have the greatest swing in the world. Well, not the greatest swing in the world, but you kind of get the idea that golf is not going to go with you every single time you go out. And do you know what? Golf doesn't. Golf beats most people up more times than they beat golf up. So effectively, I always see that whatever handicap you are, if you beat your handicap, then you've won in some way, shape or form. Most people don't. So golf is difficult. But I would deal with it from the human side of things. A book you can only read, and it is then down to you how you digest that. An individual can tailor what they say by understanding you as a person to get the best response that they can. People are best in that sense. The right person is best. Also, what blades, even if they have chrome, are you in a top 5 of all time? I did answer that one. Yep, that's getting old quickly. So top 5, oh my word, top 5. Most of them will be Mizuno. Top 5. MP4, MP5, MP37, I think it was. Callaway, the MB, the Chrome, 2018, I think it was, 2017, 2018. No, I just typed in MM, so you probably heard me cough, so I do apologise. I'd realised that I was on Discord, not on OBS, so I did not turn off my microphone, so I apologise that you had to hear me cough. There's so many. There is so many. It's difficult. Have I got, like, the Mizunos of recent years, are they in my top 5? No. Ever since they went to the HD process, where they changed their forging process slightly, that it's changed the feel. If anyone went from, let's say, from an MP5 to MP18, MP18 was the first one they made the HD process, where like a higher density forging. It did change the sound. And unfortunately, for the sound side of things, that's when MP20 came out and instantly had copper underlay. They made the MP18, overwhelmingly everyone went, doesn't feel as good as it should do. And so they come up with copper underlay to try and quieten the old girl down. And it has worked incredibly well. Does it still feel as nice as the old school blades? Probably not. Have Mizuno, like most brands, made advantages in those irons which maybe don't feel quite as nice, especially down the blade route? Have they now made them much better than the olds? Yes, and obviously there's only a certain amount they can do, but I would definitely rather play a modern day blade, than I would do one of the old school blades. But there you go. Right, so have we got anything else? Let's go on Discord quick. I think AZPR1 is actually talking to Eero on that one. Bucko5 says, here's one, though this might be more of a community question than anything else, but throwing it out there anyways. I've used Arccos for 5 years now and have hundreds of rounds saved to it. I've become a bit disillusioned that the subscription costs increase as of late. Don't know how much it's increased to. It would be disappointing if they're increasing a lot. But just saw that they're releasing their own rangefinder next month. I was excited at first because I don't mind paying for great service, and the only issue with Arccos is that it doesn't provide distance to the pin. I'm okay with paying $300 for the rangefinder, but the problem is that it requires an additional subscription on top of the existing Arccos. I feel like this is straw that broke the camel's. Yeah, okay, all right. So, also love to hear updates on the robot. Missed your last stream while in Vegas for a work trip. Well, good excuse. You're allowed if you're working in Vegas. So, where is it? Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can do this without making like a total utter mess. So I've got it underneath. So there's me quad bag. I'll get it out of the way here. So, hang on. Where are you? There it is. Right. Now this is my, oh no, where is it? It's on my bag. There you go. So, no it's not. It's too heavy for that. It's too heavy for that. So I thought it was, just in case someone ever decides they want to try and steal it. Look, wasn't there. However. It's like the rabbit in the hat. It's not there, it is there. Right, so this is the X3, and they do make another one as well, the X3 something, or Pro X3i, or whatever they do. Anyway, the great thing about this is that this is connected to your Foresight device. I better go pick that up. That's the old silica gel stuff that sort of makes sure, where is it gone? Come on, where is it? There it is. This kind of stuff anyway. This connects to your launch monitor, your GC3, your Quad Max, or anything else like that. And effectively what you do is you build your bag. So you go on your build your bag function on there, and you then basically hit all your shots. It creates a mapping of what your bag is, and then that downloads to this. So effectively, when you go to a pin and you go to 171, obviously you've got your slope function and stuff like that. You've got, obviously, there's one on, where is the old slope function on this thing? Is it that one there? It slides across. I need to look at it, how it works. But anyway, you've got your slope function on there if you want to. New locking system switch. Well, that's good. So much locking system good that I haven't actually as yet worked out. Ah, there you go. There you go. It locks. And then you kind of go like that, down there, and slide back. There you go. Anyway, so you can see if slopes are working or not. You can see the red, and of course it will tell you what iron then to use. There you go. And there is information about this. Apparently there is barometrics on it, and that kind of understands where you are in the world from a point of view of elevation. It's got GPS, obviously, all that. Anyway, and that's a really cool piece of kit. now I've got to get back in the thingy. Doesn't matter, I'll just put it back in here. But that does a similar thing. Now, obviously, does it have all your data that Arccos? Not even close, no. And if Arccos are making something like that, then brilliant. Do I disagree with the horrendous cost that brands are now effectively charging for stuff? Yes, massively, I do. I've got a big gripe over stuff that costs as much as it does. So if you can afford it, brilliant, because having that data on the golf course is amazingly good, but I can absolutely understand people not. But there are obviously different, alternatives. And I think that's what's happened with that. Obviously, Arccos have then released their own version, and there you go. And then Buck05, I did explain right at the start, within reason right at the start of the video, or the live, that what position the robot is at. Waiting on one piece. That is it. Right, in the goal discussion, have we got anything in there? No, we're just talking about Gen 1, Gen 2 maps. So for the website members that are watching that are not gold, that are either bronze or silver, we are trialing or betaing a Gen 2. That's not a penguin. Just thought, well, it is a penguin, but we're not trialing penguins. The Generation 2 heat maps, which show hotspots. What's the hotspot of the face? So as everyone knows by now, all the heat maps are driven from how well a golf club works relative to the middle, the part where you should hit it. So horizontally, laterally in the middle, yes, but then vertically in the middle from the point of view of where you should strike it relative to how much you de-loft and the static loft of the golf club and the curvature of the golf ball, and you hitting ball and floor at the same time kind of idea. Because again, vertical middle changes depending on how much you de-loft. I won't bore people, but the middle of the golf club. And so the heat maps are drawn from the middle. Now, the reason why some heat maps are greener in certain areas and drawn to a certain area is because their middle is not the middle. And so the fastest part of the face is actually offset to the middle in lateral terms, let's argue. And so because the original heat maps never went to plus numbers, they only show reduced numbers, loss, 1% loss, 2% loss, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that kind of idea, that it couldn't deal with any golf club with a face which was faster, say 6mm heel, let's just say. It couldn't deal with that. So everything was 0, no loss out of the middle, no loss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8mm, 9mm, no loss whatsoever, let's say. But then we were losing then 1, 2, 3, whatever percent by the time you get to it. And it would look really green. Now, as a middle, that's still correct. If you were programmed from the middle, then yes, that is still correct. However, there is a heat, and the whole thing, this derived from Cobra 3DP, because we could not, within reason, we couldn't create the map, the heat map that I would like to see, because as far as I was concerned, and still concerned, because I still programmed to see every single golf club relative to middle, that it's just green everywhere. The 3DP Tour irons are just amazing. But it didn't show you the hotspots. And Generation 2, not the Penguin, Generation 2 shows the hotspots in a blue tinge, so just a different colour. And it is surprising because then everything is drawn from the hotspot, not the middle. So the Gen 2 heat maps sometimes are different to that of the Gen 1, because if you've ever got an iron which has a heat spot which is a certain distance away from the actual middle, it will then show as a different heat map because we're now plotting it from the fast part, not the middle. Now, I think this requires a little bit more of a video in itself, or I just continue to reiterate the same point all the time, because it is an amazing concept, being able to show a hotspot and the work that's gone on behind the scenes to create that is amazing. The problem we're having with Gen 2 maps, more than anything else, is because they require more shots to get a reliable heat map. With old legacy based, so heat maps have only been going a year, and in that year between, let's say, September going into December, they were being changed quite a lot on the basis we were learning, we were trying to perfect it as best we could, and so they changed. But if you look at the legacy heat maps, so effectively the videos that we did prior to the creation of the heat map, we basically put all the information that we could into the heat map tool to try and gain a picture of what those golf clubs are like, and that's what we called legacy. The old data sets, which were much smaller data captures, commonly only needed one hit from the toe, one hit from the heel, one hit low, and effectively I would go through the strikes. But of course, when you're doing a heat map, you need a little bit more than that, etc. And so a lot of golf clubs didn't have enough to get like a full-on, what we'd say, like a new data set. So a lot of it was legacy. What we found very, very early on, though, early this year, by testing randomly 3 golf clubs, hitting them like they were legacy golf clubs, hitting them all again a lot more times, the heat maps hardly changed at all. So the amazing performance of even the legacy heat maps, considering how little shots they had relative to the new data sets, it was just really very, very good. So we could say absolute with confidence, even though we haven't got as many shots as we would like, the heat maps, even if we did them all again, the heat maps that you see there will basically be 95% exactly the same. There'll be no difference. It might be a fraction different in size, a fraction different in shape, but effectively you can put them next door to each other and you'll be really being picky as to which one's which. So, but Gen 2, you do need more. And so that's why at one point it'd be really cool to go over to Gen 2 completely. But then that does then mean either the needing to hit all the old stuff, of which I haven't got necessarily all again, to try and get enough data sets for them, or you just drop them off the database. I'm not a great fan of dropping off the database. So, because the Gen 1 is still valid from the middle. And personally, my brain, I always see how a golf club performs from the middle, because that's all I've been programmed to, is trying to hit the middle of every single golf club, every single iron that I've ever had. But then again, so Wishon used to be based out of the US, but I think they bought by a UK-based company. Look up the 575 MMC. Okay. Scroll up to the post from Sinatra. Oh, hang on. Have I missed? Have I missed? Obviously I have, and I apologise. So, oh, as an on, doesn't matter. Well, and if you can find it and pop it over to me, then brilliant. I'm just gonna knock that one and then put it across. Sorry if I've missed it. Let's keep going down. Richard wanted to say something. I think it was about Pro S3. Not sure. Aero, Jay, do we have embargo dates for TaylorMade M13, driver, Woods, Callaway's new release, Foki's SM11s? No one cares about them really. And Ping G440 10K. So everything's happening, and they will do. TaylorMade will all be in the likes of early January, and in February. Ping's normally mid to early Jan, but we'll see. We will see. I haven't actually yet seen actual dates. Adam says, will you have a chance to test Avoda irons? I can't remember now. There was one manufacturer, I think it was Avoda, I will say on the basis of I believe it is, and if it is not, then I apologise now for misinformation. But and I reached out to them. Keep going up. Oh, on the thingy, I'll have to look. Okay, all right. And then they reached back. Great, started to communicate. I explained to them how I review golf clubs, and then they effectively ghosted me. After they found out what I do and how I do it and what I produce for people to see, all communication, regardless if I turn and email them, I'm sorry, I don't know if you've seen my reply, have you had a chance to look at it and let me know your thoughts? Nothing. Got the end button that time. So that was disappointing. And I'm pretty certain that was a voder. So this goes back to, again, the whole idea of what we do here, and it is not attractive to brands. This is the problem which I face, is because the year we've been doing this, I have noticed brands start to distance themselves from wanting to give me product. And I always knew it was going to happen. I'll be honest, I always knew it was going to happen, and we can't help it. As soon as you do something like this, where effectively it highlights not what the marketing says, or highlights what the marketing says is not right in the slightest, or actually highlights that their golf club, their new, brand new, fancy, dancy golf club is actually worse than the previous one, of which, yeah, obviously brands they don't want to see that. And so they would rather distance themselves. And so increasingly I am having to source product from other places because I'm not getting it directly because of that distance that they're now trying to do. Now, of course, that won't necessarily do any good on the grand scheme of things. It won't, but because I will still get the reviews out there, even if they're late. And as long as I can get the product from someone, it will be what it will be. But I would much rather the brands be open, transparent, have this direct line of communication backwards and forth, work with me from a channel. This is why Shrixon, a lot of people gave Shrixon a little bit, especially on the ZXi4, a little bit of bad press, and they shouldn't have done. Because yes, the ZXi4 is not as good as the ZX4 Mark II in certain aspects of forgiveness, but it does better in other metrics and other performance metrics, which arguably for a bigger proportion of golfers would actually be better than the ZXi ZX4 Mark II. And the fact that Shrixon were quite happy to have the backwards and forth for the fact that the first sample that I got, there was something wrong with it. We were getting some really weird, interesting data from the heat map. We were getting some really weird numbers on the spreadsheet. It was just looking strange. And regardless of how many shots we hit with it, we still keep on getting the same thing. So it got to a point of where I had to reach out to them and sort of say, look, well, I don't understand what's going on here. Is it a problem with the actual golf club itself? Is it broken? I don't know. And so can we have a look at replacing it, and so we can actually test it properly? Because I don't want to basically give a result of how a golf club performs based on if I know that it's not working as it should do. I'm trying to see, Andy, which one Sinatra's. No, I'm pretty certain. Did we? Not that one. I can't see what. I can't see a direct question that I don't think we've answered from Sinatra, mate. So if anyone can summarize one that I haven't responded to, I apologize, and I will answer it. Right, so and what happened to your 11 review videos? They seem to have disappeared, especially the driver video. Yes, because effectively the driver video had a discount code on the driver video. And rather than ever be in a situation of discount, the problem with videos with discount codes are brilliant from a golfer perspective, because they're great, because whilst that discount code is live, you understand what I mean. Well, I'm just shortening stuff. While that discount code is live, it's brilliant because you can save money on that golf club. It's great. The problem is once it stops and that video's still out there and it's misleading and it's not right, because then people try it and it's not, and then you get more in the way of people being peed off with it's not working, and then you get all that. And then so commonly it's best at that point to say, look, unless that discount code is still valid and the brand is still doing it, what's the word I'm thinking of when they're supporting it? No, not supporting it, they're it doesn't matter. You kind of get the idea. If it's still current and they're still supporting it, they're still active with it, then keep it. But as soon as it's not, it's best to take the video down. It's not a good idea. So that's why I've been very particular about certain videos, links to certain videos that have the discount code in, other videos that I've referenced discount codes within this and stuff like that. So it's best, even though, yes, I'll probably take a hit with the lost views that you'll get from the video, probably, yes. I do feel, again, the moral way of doing things is the right way of doing things, and the moral way is to make sure that you don't mislead anyone in anything that you say do online to the best of your possible ability. It wasn't a question, it was a mini plug to the website. Was it? Andy, can you direct message me? Oh, no. Can you copy his message and stick it on the members or the discussion page, or say the members, because I've got the members up at the moment. If you could do that and dump it in there, then I'll quite happily read it. Where are we going? Neil says, would you be prepared to add older irons to your database? Absolutely, yes. I'm sure many people would be happy to lend them to you. Look, once I've got the robot going, it is literally a case of, to a certain extent, initially, whilst the robot has to be manually loaded as such, it's just set the golf club up and find middle and hit, and then do the 6 points around the face. So the center, the heel center, the toe center, the low heel, the low toe, and the low center. Do those 6 points around the iron face. Again, there is no point in doing high on the face. I get this a lot when it comes to certain comments in YouTube, etc., why we don't specifically give information or reference the high on the face. Because they're all bad. They're terrible. As soon as you hit a golf club high on the face, we're talking about how much you lose off the toe and off the heel, and if a really good one's losing 3% off the toe and the heel, and 3%, 2% low and stuff like that. When they're going 20 millimeters heel, 20 or so millimeters toe, 15 low on the face, and we're talking a really good golf club will lose like 2s and 3s and stuff like that. When you look at every golf club, you hit high on the face, you lose so quickly, so rapidly, that it's like saying, would you rather be kicked in the face by a horse or hit by a car at 30 miles an hour? Now, some people will probably be able to give you an answer. I'll be honest, they're both really bad. So that's why we don't do it. Excuse me with the cough. But hopefully, oh, hang on. Oh, Andy's done a very good job. Well done, Andy. Right, let's see. This is from the Discord on the on Discord. Where is it? There it is. Found it. Thank you. Sinatra says, okay, so I've signed up to the gold tier and have all the facts and figures, which is so great. I only swing at 75 miles an hour, so my choices are limited. That's true. Your choices do limit as you reduce in speed. You can't help it, and that's functionality of flight. I took Andy's advice and went and tried a club I'd never thought I could hit well enough, and hit it better than any game improvement club I've ever tried. Yep. That club was the Ping i240. It's given me such a boost of confidence, so thank you, Andy. Well done, Andy. And so, yeah, there you go. The height, straightness and dispersion was fantastic, and I got an average 43 degrees land angle across 30 shots. That's pretty good for 75 mile an hour swing and across 30 shots. The fact that I was 5 yards shorter than my T350s didn't bother me whatsoever. Good, because it's not distance that matters, it's functional distance that matters. I have to focus on nothing but game improvement irons since I started 18 months ago. It's like a whole new world is now open for me. Thanks again to both Jay and Andy for all of the good work you do. Well, thank you very, very much. See, we always like success stories, and that's the whole idea that AskGolfNut was created on that basis, to try and give you the best possible chance when you're spending your hard-earned money, and obviously golf equipment is expensive, that you spend it in the most wise way possible. Because even if you make one mistake and buy the wrong set of golf clubs because you were sold them or whatever it would be by the fitter, you're commonly talking about, I mean, how much that's going to cost you, $1,500, sometimes $2,000, depending on the composition. It's just crazy. So yeah, the important thing is to ensure that you buy the correct set. Yeah, it's getting old now, disc golf. Eero says, Jay, if the direct-to-consumer brands, which one have you enjoyed hitting the most? Sub 70, I would say, from a feel perspective. Would you ever remake the video with a heat map on the 11 driver? The heat map of the 11 driver is on the website. I think it is. I think that it is on the website. I think it is. I think it is. I'll put it out there that I think it is on the website. We did do that one, even though it was done. There was enough information or something to be able to construct the heat map for the 11 driver. I think it is on the website. Eero, my golf weekend can confirm that high on the face and the hosel are suboptimal strikes. Absolutely. It is, and he says it is, yeah. So there we go. It is actually available on the website, www.askgolfnut.com. The great thing with askgolfnut.com when it comes to the driver database is we are just starting this, and there is so much more to come from the driver side of things. The iron database now, it's got to a point of where we've got the information that we really need to get, and we're just filling it out now. We're up to 100 or so irons on the database now, and so it is a really comprehensive. The whole point, I wanted to try and get askgolfnut.com to be the singular one place, one-stop shop as such for anyone to view how golf clubs actually work. So that was the concept idea that we had, and that's when it comes to the irons we're doing. And that goes back to Neil's question just fractionally up higher up there, that was basically saying about older golf clubs. Now, I've still got older golf clubs, a certain amount of them, and yes, once there's time and the push starts moving over to focusing more on the website than YouTube necessarily, I'll have time to be able to do all the data sets for the old and get all that information up there for more people to use on the website. Eero says, how come Andy won't recommend new clubs for me? I think you know the reason on that one, Eric. CB says, are there any plans to get your hands on Maltby irons? CB, if you know of the media or marketing email for Maltby, by all means, send me that on email, askgolfnut@gmail.com or j@askgolfnut.com, and I'll get in contact with them. Iro says the website is unreal, amazing. It's the best unbiased source of data anywhere. That was the idea. Absolutely, it is. Good or bad, and I know it's bad for me on the basis of brands don't like it. They really don't like it. Gerald Joseph Dontrip. What a name. I have the T200 and what's your last comparison to T250? Do you believe it's worth trading in for the T250s? If you miss hit, yes. If you don't miss hit that much at all, and you basically within reason hit the middle quite a lot, and you're not going to need the extra consistency from the face, or forgiveness, what people think, then if you don't need it, keep them, because the old T200 did really, really well from a performance standpoint. Really did. Launched really well. Fast was really face. The face was really fast, and so it worked for a lot of people, but you had to hit the middle. But most people don't hit the middle. They move around. And the problem with the T200 in a selling environment from the fitting environment, fitters need to understand that players' distance irons means exactly that. They should be for players that really don't miss the middle that much, that need more distance. The problem is it's not marketed like that way. It's not pushed that way in the media. It's not pushed that way by the manufacturers. And so these players' distance irons, which are very, very common to be not that forgiving, quite fast out in the middle, but not very forgiving, that they're put in the hands of golfers that really shouldn't be using them. They look really nice and they're powerful and stuff, and they always focus on the one shot you hit out the middle and how well that goes and how well that did and how far it went and just how good, as you improve, just how good all your other shots are going to be. But that doesn't take into account all the bad shots that you do hit and will continue to hit. And so they're sold to people that really shouldn't have them. The differences with the T250 is, yes, it's still the player's distance iron, but Titleist have now come away a little bit from the balls out distance that the T200 and functionality. I mean, the launch factor was really good on the T200. They've kind of come away from that to try and make that face a little bit more consistent and still retain as much as they possibly can do from the old T200 performance-wise. I would argue that if you are a player looking for more distance that hits the middle, that actually the T200, the old one, is still a better iron for that purpose. But for the amount of golfers that basically buy these kind of golf clubs, these players' distance irons, because they're sold through marketing and media, that they are the forgiving versions of this, that, and everything else, that Titleist made the right decision changing the T250 to become a better selection for the golfer that's actually buying it, rather than the golfer who should be buying it. Hopefully that makes sense. Adam says, thoughts on GT2 versus Dietobak Max K for 110. Oh, Adam, there is so many variables, fella. Honestly, I couldn't even, that is a conversation in itself. I need to know so much more information to be able to give you an inkling idea as to what might work better. 110 swing speed player, I mean, you've got swing speed on your side. How that actually converts to distance and how you hit, what your angle attack is, what your delivered loft is, what your common strike point is, what your spin profile is, what your launch profile is. All these different things are, we need to knuckle them ones down first, or at least get a decent understanding of where you are to see what the inherent difference between a GT2 head and a Max K head is. Now, of course, I think they are on the website, and so you can get an understanding within reason how one may work for you if you know certain things. And if you know Adam, just pop, I don't know if you are on Discord. If you are on Discord, then just pop in there after, and we'll try as best we can do to help. If you pop on there now, Andy's on there now anyway, he may be able to just sort of poke you down the right. If you're on Discord and you're a website member, if you're a gold member, you'll have access to the self-fit tool for the driver. And I'm pretty certain the driver is now, is the driver fit tool now within reason functioning as we would like it to, after all the back end work you did? off the top of the head, I can't remember, but Andy will either say yes or no as it pops through on the chat. But Adam, I would absolutely jump on Discord. Link is up there. Yeah. And there's also any plans to review multi-woods. I've heard the latest ones are superb. Again, the multi side of things. If anyone knows the Discord invite, there we go. If anyone knows of any manufacturer that has a marketing or media email that they answer, because I still haven't found one for Titleist yet. Yep, still haven't found one for Titleist yet. So, but yeah, that's one of the things. Any plans on reviewing the new Apex utility woods? If I can get hold of them, Gerald, absolutely I will. Yeah, if I can, I will, because they're an important golf club that more golfers should use, but they don't because it's not sexy. Everyone wants to talk about driver, everyone wants to talk about an iron, no different than wedges and stuff. Iro says, is the Vice putter still the gamer? They released new clubs in January. Do you know what? I don't know what the release cycles are going to be for Vice. That's a really interesting question. I would hope that they're going to do a 2-year life cycle. I really would hope that. Their golf clubs aren't bad at all, and they are on the premium side of DTC. So they are on the more expensive side of DTC. They are on the, shall we say, the cheaper side of premium. But they have an interesting brand. They have many different in the ways of customization. They're quite cool in that sense. So they do have their own wins and losses in that sense. So not necessarily anything bad because of that. But there we go. Right. Randy's in the house. I'm playing the prior generation T350. Is it worth going to the new T350? I was told the next generation 8 yards longer. Randy, I will be doing a review of the T350 against the T350. So I don't mind the T200 and T250 because at least they've changed it. Everything's the same when it comes to the rest of them. But I have got all the information for the T350 and the new T350. But how that applies to you is an interesting one, and you possibly won't be able to get the information that you are wanting from my review or the upcoming review. I'm doing at the moment, I'm doing the 925 Forge versus the 925 Hot Metal Pro, two very, very close golf clubs in the range, and people wanted to get that video done. So I'm getting that video done, and hopefully that will be out for Wednesday, and then I might be able to get the T350 video ready for Sunday. So, but the best way, Randy, and I'm not quite sure, again, if you remember the website, if you are seriously thinking about buying a new set of golf clubs, as in the new T350s, and you want to know before you buy them, or before you even test them, and go to the trouble of testing, etc., if they are actually any better for you or not, then that's what the self-fit tool on the website is for, on the gold tier, because effectively it allows you to put your own swing dynamics, your own swing speed, etc., in there, and just see if one is better. 8 yards longer is a heck of a claim. I am not certain what website said that was 8 yards longer. Let's 8 yards longer, huh? Anyway, I'll let you decide on that one. But best thing to do is get your swing dynamics into the self-fit tool, and then you'll be able to absolutely see. I thought 8 yards longer was Callaway Elite Marketing, yeah, and next to the 12 yards longer that TaylorMade do every year. We should be hitting shots to the moon by now. Golf balls by now, if we believe the marketing, should be approaching the speed of light. There you go. Right. Has anyone else, I will very quickly just look on Discord if I've got any other ones on Discord that we need to talk about. Let's go on the tee box, see if we've got anything else on there. Nothing that we need to talk about on there. Good. Well, not good, that's just what it is. And we are up to date, I believe, on, oh, no, I don't want to report anything. I was just clicking on it so I can actually get the window active. There we go. Have we got any other ones on there I have missed? I don't think I have. We're good. Richard, you didn't, obviously, it's a shame. We didn't get any information. We didn't get we retracted both messages. I'm pretty certain it was something to do with the Pro S3. So, 8 yards could be true. We're measuring in dog yards. I like it. That's very good. That's very, very good. Right, so let's look at the time. Just got a notification, right, that Amazon, so I've got one of those video doorbells. Like, everyone's got a video doorbell now. I mean, they come around at a weird old time now, don't they? What's time now? 8:15. I've had ones that have gone around at like 9 o'clock or 9:30 and deliver the parcel from, I mean, that's great for when it comes to next day delivery. I get that, it's brilliant. But really, what are you going to do with that, whatever you've just bought, at 9:30 at night and stuff? That just doesn't make sense to me when they do that. That's just mental. I've got some things I need to do on there, but I'll do that later. Right. Okay. If everyone is happy and stuff, we've done every single thing that we need to, I believe. I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. God dear. This is just, this cold that I got, and all it was a small, tiny cold. It wasn't anything big at all, literally tiny. And it just left me with a cough, which keeps going on. Iro says, good luck with the robot parts, Jay. Thank you for the time, sir. No, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you very much for your contributions into the live stream. I'm waiting on a sleeve, effectively. The gearbox, because I've got a 5-to-1 reducer on the gearbox. And so the shaft that comes out the gearbox is 22mm. I could not find, for the love of anything, a 22mm flange that could connect the motor to the bit that I need to connect the golf club to. And so what I'm having to do is having a 25mm one and then get a 1.5mm thick aluminium rod, we'll call it. So it's 25mm on the outside, 1.5mm thick, so it'd be 22mm on the inside, and then use that as a sleeve between the two, cut out the keyway and all bits and pieces like that, and then I can then use that to, I know, it's mental, it's just crazy. So, yeah, that's still coming. I have emailed them, and so I will message them and said, look, what's going on? It's been 10 days since the last update, and it's still in the air. I'm like, where are you flying to? I mean, I'm not quite sure how long it would take to fly to the moon, but I'm pretty certain someone can get on AI quickly and find out with a normal jet airliner, top speed cruising altitude. I know that won't fly in space. You kind of get my point though. Right. Excuse me, you two Winnie Pops. Right. Well, in that case, if no one's got any other questions, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for your questions. Hopefully I've answered them as best I possibly can do. Obviously, we've got the Hot Metal Pro Against the Forge coming Wednesday, and we do have for Randy the 350 coming on the weekend as planned, potentially, hopefully. Yes, it will be. And then I want to get on with that robot, but I can't do the robot yet because I'm still waiting on a part. And at one point, it would be really good to get some content done, whether it be lives, whether it would be pre-record stuff going on about talking about the robot, etc., getting it in motion, getting it hitting, that kind of idea, especially if it's early days and we're working, because we've moved the motor, but we haven't moved the motor at speed. So we don't actually know what kind of oomph it's got and how that oomph will, I mean, I've had to shore up the frame a little bit. I've got those knuckle things, turnbuckles, trying to get the frame to nice and steady, and yeah. And then I've got to find a way, so I've got to go get some fixings to basically bolt this bugger to the floor, because the problem is with it, when it's moving, that has got some serious amounts of yeah. And so I need to bolt it to the floor as well to keep everything as stable as I possibly can do. The more stable I can make it, obviously, then the more repeatable everything becomes. And the whole idea is be able to do the 90, 80, 70 miles an hour, and then also the 110 mile an hour stuff with driver, etc. So it's got to reach 110 mile an hour driver, and it's got to reach 90 or so miles an hour with the iron. But there you go. So that's the whole concept of it. I've got to do some adjustments to it. It's just that whenever I'm doing adjustments to it, or I've already seen when it comes to, say, like the T systems, the T is a three-dimensional movement, so I can actually move the ball further forward or back, change angle, attacks and paths, etc. if I wanted to. But more importantly, I can change it going this way, and it changes, say, laterally across the face, toe and heel, and I can also move it up and down. So I can, so it's three-dimensional. The only problem is, because they're linear rails, when one linear rail goes moving to this side, obviously gravity has an effect of wanting to tip it. So then you're then not moving it just in heel toe. As it tips, it drops a little bit, and so you're moving it downwards as well. So I need to just get something just to, like a goal post underneath the linear rail. So when the linear rail moves across, rather than just dropping on one side, it just basically rests against something as it's gliding. So it stops, it basically keeps everything perfectly level regardless of where it goes. That's the concept in my head anyway, but I need to do that. That's the problem, because obviously when I'm doing one thing, I can't do the other. Literally, I can't do the other, and so it's one of those things. But it's all good, it's fine. It'll all be cool getting the robot working and see how it does, and if it doesn't work, it's an absolute colossal waste of money. But my knee needs the robot. My body needs the robot. I'm not getting any younger, and with all the shots that the heat maps and the distance factor maps and the advanced data maps and all the different things that we're doing to get the best information for you guys, it needs a lot of hitting, and I'm not capable of continuing to do that because I will break, and I'm too young, even though I feel old, sometimes I'm too young to be broken at this age. So anyway, thank you very much for the time, guys. Randy says, thank you, Jay, you are the man. I appreciate that very much so. And no different to Eero. Thank you for everybody's input into the live stream. It's a pleasure as always. And we'll see everybody again very soon.